Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Sipsparkshare. I'm Alexandra.
And I'm Sarai.
And today we're going to be telling you what they don't tell you about friendships.
Yes, like how hard it is to maintain a friendship. Yeah, we'll tell you all about it.
What's one myth about friendship that you believed growing up and has changed now?
Oh my God. So the number one myth that I grew up thinking and believing that was true, and I found out very early on that it was not true, is that you will be friends with somebody forever.
Yeah.
Like ever. Like they will never leave you.
Yeah.
I think that was one of the biggest and hardest myths.
And
Heartbreaking myths I've discovered by far.
Yeah, I agree. I know a myth that I grew up hearing, and it was that there's no such thing as friends. So I don't know if that's like a Spanish thing, because I hear that a lot thrown around in the Spanish community. But I grew up saying, tu única amiga es tu madre. So for the English speakers, it's your only friend is your mother. And as I grew up, I believe it, but I don't believe it.
So like, is it a myth or is it not a myth?
That's what I'm saying. I feel like it is, but it ain't, because I do think that sometimes when stuff hits the fan, you got to go to your mom. But for a lot of people that maybe don't have a mom or something like that, your friend sometimes replaces your family. But let's not judge. I'm not going to, talk too much about that. We can talk about that later on.
It's a good question.
Yeah.
I didn't grow up with my mother being my friend. My mother was my mother.
Yeah.
So I never heard the myth of your mother is your friend.
Yeah.
But I have heard from my mother, who is an older generation, that there is no such thing as friends, right? That was her myth growing up. I don't know if she still holds on to that or not, but from my experience, I don't believe that to be true.
Yeah.
I do believe in friendships. I do believe that there's different types of friendships and that there are real ones. It's just really hard to find.
It's really hard to find. You can count. You're really lucky if you have like in one hand, if you can count the really good, true friends that you have.
Yes, I agree with that.
So that brings me to my next question. How would you define a true friendship?
A true friendship. Well, I'm sure that's different for everyone.
Yeah.
It depends on what exactly it is to you. What does it mean? But for me, the definition of a true, close, or best friend, it would have to be that we share similar common core values, morals, right? That we have the same... We're looking for the same things. Like, for example, for me, loyalty is very important. So if you're my true closest friend, you are going to be loyal by default to me, right? You're not going to be telling people my business. You're going to keep my secrets a secret, right? And we also just share a lot of things that we like to do together, like activities. We like, maybe not everything has to be the same, but for the majority, we like doing the same things together.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then the parts that aren't the same, we bring out the best from each other.
Yeah, that's what I think. I think that a true friend brings out your best qualities.
Yes.
Like qualities that you don't even know that you have.
Correct.
That person is like it complements you. That person
complements you. Yeah.
And that person it's just your rock, your your ride or die, your rock, your support system. It takes a lot. It sounds like it's a lot because, I think it's loyalty, like you said, respect, common ground, like all of these things. And it sounds like it's a lot of different things, a lot of different like characteristics and stuff. But when it comes to a true friend, I think that it comes so naturally.
It's not
forced.
It is not forced. And I also go beyond saying that you're only going to know if this person is a true friend is not when you're at your best.
No.
It's when you are absolutely at your worst that you're going to know if that person was a true friend or not to begin with.
Absolutely.
That's how I start weaving out the people that aren't really my close friends. It's when I hit rock bottom, who's really there for me, not the people that are there when you're having a great old good time.
Exactly.
Because that you'll find plenty of that.
And that's easy. It's easy.
And it's easy. But when you're at your worst and when they see you at your worst?
At your ugliest.
At your ugliest. Are they still there? Are they understanding, or do they walk away?
Yeah.
So
100%.
Yes.
100%.
So I have a question for you. What are the different types of friendships?
Oh, this is interesting. Because people get friendship. I feel like people throw that little title, and it's like people don't. Let me explain it to you guys. I think that there are 7 types of friendships.
Okay.
I think that there's number 1, the longtime friend.
Okay.
Like your lifelong friend.
The person you've known the longest.
The longest. I think there's a best friend. So this best friend knows everything about you, knows you're ugly, knows your deep, dark secrets, knows you better than you know yourself. Then you have your close friend. So your close friend is somebody that you're like, and then, I'm sorry, let me backtrack. A best friend, you don't always have to talk to them every single day. Like, sometimes people think that, because I don't talk to this person every single day, that they're not considered a best friend. I think that you can go years without talking to a person. And if they're like your true best friend, it's you kind of pick up where you left off. I think that that's something that would check off a best friend. So now you have a close friend. Your close friend is someone that you're very, very connected to. You're very close to that person, or persons. Individuals, and they're always going to be there for you. They're always on by your side, but they just don't know as much as your best friend would know.
Okay.
Then you have your social group friends. So these are the people that you invite to your birthday parties. These are the people that you go to dinner with, or you do any little
your hangout friends.
Yeah, hangout
people you want to hang out with.
Exactly. Then you have your activity friend. Your activity friend is like your gym friend, your yoga class friend, your drama club, whatever. Then you have the convenient friendship. So when I say convenient friendship, don't take this in a bad way. Don't take it like you're using this person. No, convenient kind of throws people off when you say convenient.
Listen, stop trying to sugarcoat it. Convenient means convenient. It means I scratch your back, you scratch mine. Why we gotta sugarcoat things? We're keeping it raw and real. That's that neighbor that you go to when you need some extra sugar. The neighbor that you go to, pick up my mail, I'm not gonna be there.
Okay.
It's called a convenience.
Yes.
There are those type of friends. Don't feel bad about it.
Yes.
We all have them. We all do. That person that, oh my God, I have an emergency. Can you take care of my dog?
Yeah.
That's
convenient
it.
friend.
It ends there. It's a favor for a favor.
All right.
She was struggling there, but it's okay.
I was struggling. And then we have acquaintances. So we all have acquaintances.
Absolutely.
Your work, your work friends,
These are the people you spend time with on a daily basis.
The majority of the day.
But it doesn't go beyond that.
Absolutely.
So your coworker is somebody you spend the most of the time with, but they're not your friends. They're your friends at work because you do things together at work. But after that, you don't have a friendship unless if it develops.
Yeah.
All of these categories start off in a category and eventually they end up moving up, or they stay where they are.
Or they go down.
But you have to know the difference. Yeah. I love that one. Sometimes they do just disappear.
They go down.
But you have to know the difference so that when you're in these situations, know where do you fall so that you know what to expect. You can't expect loyalty from an acquaintance, can you?
No.
Can I get mad if my acquaintance does me wrong? I don't think so, because I wasn't holding them to that standard.
Exactly. There's levels. There's levels.
So I feel like if you know where you are at, when things happen to you, you'll be able to take it a little more gracefully because you understand, well, this person owed me nothing.
Exactly.
We were just hangout buddies. So if they cancel on me constantly, it's okay because they don't owe me anything. We're not that close.
Yeah.
Now, if your close friend, though, your best friend starts doing things like that to you, then you need to reevaluate where to put them.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So yes, there's definitely categories. So Alexandra, now that we've shared so much about the different categories, can you share a time when a friendship didn't turn out as expected? I didn't mean to go so deep.
Yeah.
But
I have several. I'm gonna talk about. Well, I'm gonna talk about the one that didn't hurt me as deep.
Okay.
That wasn't that recent. I remember when I was in high school.
Mm-hmm. Oh, she took
I
it
had,
back.
yeah. Because the other one is like, it's a little too soon.
Okay, you're not ready to talk about it,
It's a little
which
too
is
soon.
okay. I'm sure everybody has situations that they're not ready to discuss.
Yeah. So let's talk about high school. I had this friend, and this was my bestest friend in high school, right? And okay, so just to make this long story short and not so painful, we stopped talking. She kicked me out of her house, and she had moved to Florida, and would always go visit her in Florida. And there was a situation that occurred, and she did not believe my side. She didn't take my side. She actually took the other person's side and believed the other person and kicked me out of her house. So that friendship, it really, when it ended, that it just ended so abruptly because then we never spoke after then. That hurt so much, so much. And I would have thought that me and this girl would have been friends. Like, I would have thought she would have been my bridesmaid or something. Yeah, because we were that close. And then just me telling her something and her not believing me, like it broke my heart.
I mean,
it really broke.
I could see why. Like, you really thought this person was your friend.
Yeah, you remember?
And they chose somebody else over you.
Yeah.
Now, what did that teach you, though?
Well, that taught me never to. So then, this is what that taught me: never to involve myself in another person's relationship. That's what that taught me.
That's a big lesson.
It cost me a friend.
That's a big
never to
lesson.
Involve myself in someone else's relationship.
Wow. I mean, that's a good takeaway. And I feel like that should apply to most people. Don't get involved in other people's relationships. But when you think somebody is that close to you,
I thought I could tell her.
Exactly.
Yeah, but clearly I couldn't.
Clearly she wasn't
wasn't ready.
Your friend.
Yeah. Oh, that's what it was.
How about that?
Sorry.
Clearly, she was not really your friend.
And she wasn't ready. And,
maybe she was one of those convenient friends.
Yeah, I guess. Anyway, what about you? Do you have a nice juicy story for us?
Oh my God. So I haven't lost that many friends. I really haven't. But I can tell you a story. So I used to have a friend who was older than me. You know, I've always been around older people. Yeah. So this person was much older than me. Well, this person was a very toxic individual. This person wanted me to be their friend and only their friend. And I, to a certain extent, I didn't understand it in the beginning. I just thought, I was like, oh, you know, she loves me so much. She just wants to protect me, doesn't want me to be around different people. But the more friends I made, the more I realized that, oh no, she just wants me for herself. Yeah. So to make the long story short, we ended up not being friends because she betrayed me. And she betrayed me in like the worst way possible. And I actually forgave her after the betrayal. And then second time around, she did it again. So I didn't learn my lesson.
Isn't that the worst?
Like, I did not learn my lesson.
You forgive someone and then they do it again?
And then they do it again. Oh, so what did that teach me?
What did that teach you? What did that teach you?
It taught me something very important, though. It taught me that just because you forgive someone does not mean that they have changed. And I took that very seriously and very to heart. So all of the friendships that I have right now, it's because I've seen that they've changed. Because I've had up and downs with my friends. And the only reason why I was able to forgive them and then just stick around is because I saw that there was change. It wasn't just, oh, I forgive you, but yet there's no change in your part. So it did teach me that you can forgive and move on. You don't have to forgive and stay. No. So I learned that early on. Yeah. So guys, share with us, leave comments below if you experience anything similar and what did you do? What did you do?
All right, I have a question.
Okay.
In your opinion, what is the most underrated aspect of maintaining a long-lasting friendship?
What is an underrated?
Yeah.
I would say that you have to date your friends.
Yeah.
You have to treat your friendship like if you were in an actual relationship. And I think that people don't see it that way.
Yeah.
I feel like people see it as, no, they get the lesser part of me. My actual partner gets most. And I completely disagree. I think the same time and energy that you give to your spouse, to your partner, you need to give to that one. I don't know if you have one or two, but to that close friend. You know why? Because when things hit the fan there, you can't just then try to run and pick up the pieces to somebody you completely left behind.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that the dynamic is not going to change. Like when you're in a relationship, yes, you're not going to have as much time for your friendships because you're so involved. But the fact that some people forget that they even have friends when they're in a relationship,
a lot of people do
says a lot.
Yeah.
It says a lot. And then when that relationship doesn't work out, they want to just come back and try to pretend like nothing ever happened.
Yeah,
and I don't think that's right.
No.
I think that in your life, you need to have balance. So have balance in your relationship, but also in those friendships that matter. Not every single friendship is, you know how we were saying, there's levels, but that close one, you need to nurture it.
Absolutely.
You need to pour into it so that it can continue to grow and blossom. And believe me, if they're a true friend, they're going to respect and have boundaries as well and understand that because you are in a relationship, they're not going to be as accessible to you or be around you all the time. So I think it takes both friends to figure that out.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%. I think an underrated, something underrated about friendships, I think it's the appreciation. I think that a lot of people don't appreciate their friends. Like they just expect their friend to always be there for you, or you just expect your friend, oh, she gonna take, let's say you don't have a car or whatever, oh, she gonna take me here because we're gonna, like, you think that your friend is always gonna do this. You expect them to always do it. You kind of require them to always do these things, and you kind of don't even appreciate it. Like sometimes, like just be like, you know,
you mean like a thank you for
like
doing
a little
this?
thank you, or like even sometimes it'll be like let's say, okay, so I'm gonna tell you a story.
Yeah, please elaborate.
I'm gonna tell you a story. So I have my best friend. I've known my best friend for years. Everybody knows who he is. Shout out to Butter. So I remember that I used to require a lot from my friend, from my best friend. And I used to always be like, oh, nah, he gonna do it. He gonna do it because he's my best friend. He gonna do it, da, da, da. I would like just, it became that I expected him to do it. And I just, like, it was kind of like mandatory for me. I was like, this is what he's gonna do. And it wasn't because of a bad way or anything like that. I just was just used to it, and I just knew that we wouldn't have any problems with it. It was vice versa. Until one day, my best friend sat me down and said to me, he said, Alex, I don't think you appreciate me.
Aww.
And he said, I think that you think that I have to do things for you, and I don't like it. And I was like, ah! I was like, I'm so sorry. And then whatever. So the point is that, you know, he called me out, and I heard him, and I said sorry. Okay. And I didn't, but I didn't realize that I was doing it. So I didn't realize that I was expecting him to do all these things for me until if he would have never called me out, I would have kept doing it. So I think that people need to appreciate your friends, and you need to do your little thank yous. You need to, you know.
But I like that he took the time to tell you that. And I know a lot of people aren't comfortable. So here's another thing that you just brought up to my point. A lot of people are not comfortable in telling people the truth because they don't want to hurt their feelings. Yeah. Not so because they don't want to tell you the truth. They don't want to hurt your feelings. But imagine he would have never taken the time to tell you. He would have kept being your friend hurt. Yeah. And that would have broken the relationship eventually, because there's only so much you could take of somebody who's not appreciating you or saying that they appreciate you. Yeah. So it's important that we take the time to really tell our friends how we feel on a daily basis. If there's something wrong, always remind them, like, please let me know. Like, I know I always check in with you guys. You know, I can be really harsh. So just let me know when I'm being too much. Yeah. But I'm aware of that. So I think we need a lot more self-awareness so that we can start opening up about that. Because I'm sure there's plenty of people that felt that same way. Yeah. Like, a lot. Where they're just not willing to say, like, how do I tell this person I don't like it when they, or mention the story somewhere else? Like, I don't like it.
Yeah. I wouldn't be able to tell. I mean, I think recently I've I've been a little bit more vocal on saying things the correct way, like the healthy way. Because if I, like before, I would say things that I didn't like, but I would bring it up like in an argument or something like that. I wouldn't do it in the correct way that you're supposed to do it.
Or
I think
tone.
Yeah, or the correct tone or anything like that. But now I've learned that, to express myself the proper way. All right. Next question.
Yes.
This is perfect. This question is perfect. How do you handle the challenges of friendship dynamics changing over time?
That's a good one. So I experienced that with my best friend. Shout out to Victoria. She's listening. So me and her have been best friends since high school, right? And when I tell you about our friendship, we were like sisters. We did everything together, from sleepovers, even to having our kids literally one day apart, to the point people thought we were planning it.
Yeah.
We were just super, super close. We had this connection, the bond. Now, as life happened and we ended up having our kids, we did separate for quite some time because of the situation. We were young mothers dealing with a lot. My son happened to be diagnosed with autism right after he was born. So I was already set off with things that I didn't even know how to deal with.
Yeah.
So because of that, there was a separation. And me and her did not talk on a daily basis. We would touch base maybe once every 2 to 3 months.
Yeah.
But when we would get on the phone, we would catch up. And like you were saying before, you don't always have to call that person all the time, but you do have to check in so that friendship doesn't go away.
Yeah.
So even though we separated, when we got back together, like officially, once our kids were a little bit older and we had time to ourselves, we were still inseparable.
Absolutely.
And even to this day now that we're super close, we don't see or call each other every single day because we're so busy with like just work and life. So the way that I want to say it, or what I'm trying to say, is that always, even if you don't have time for an everyday conversation, you still need to check in though.
Yeah, those
because
check-ins.
If you do not do check-ins, you will separate and not even realize it.
Yeah.
So the reason why we didn't separate was because one of us, and I'll be honest, it was mainly her because she is a caller. Victoria knows that I does not call absolutely anybody unless if I have something very specific to say.
Yeah.
But she knows that about me. She's gotten to know. She knows that it's not because I don't care.
Yeah.
So you have to get to know your friends. Know if they're doing something. Is it because that's just them? Or is it because they're moving or acting funny in a certain way? So she always calls me and I'm always quick to pick up, and we catch up. We make time to go out, to spend time together. Yeah. So make that phone call. That's what I want to say. Absolutely. Make the phone call. Invest in your friends.
Invest. Pour into them.
What about you?
I think challenges in friendships for me before used to be very difficult because I didn't know how to handle a challenge. Okay. So I wouldn't be able to, like in a healthy way, in a non-toxic way, admit that I was wrong, or admit that I was doing something wrong, or like even like if somebody did something to hurt my feelings or something like that, I didn't know how to express myself. Like, hey, listen, you hurt my feelings. It was just always attack mode. I was very defensive before. Okay.
So this is a challenge for like an argument.
It would have been an argument. Okay. Like for me, like it could have been something simple. Like let's say, I don't know, let's say you were supposed to go let's say it was my birthday and something came up, right? And you couldn't attend my birthday. Yeah. That would have been a fight. Like I would have been very offended, and I wouldn't have expressed to you, oh, listen, blah, 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 blah. Like it would have been a huge argument. So now the new Alexandra, I like to say the new reformed Alexandra. Yeah, I like her too. I handle it very, very, very different. I've learned to express how I feel and to speak nicely. And the old saying, if I don't have anything nice to say, I do not say it. And I wait until I gather my feelings and gather my emotions, and then I tell you at a later time. But I've learned that old saying, like, don't say nothing if you. So I practice that every day. Okay.
So then, do you eventually say it though?
I do.
Okay. I do. And how's your approach when you are going to tell someone?
It's much more. So it's very like giggly, and it's very. So then that also throws people off because I have like that nervous giggle. And I don't like, as much as people, because I'm loud and like very like, you know, rah rah, people think that I like confrontation. I'm actually very like, I don't like it. It makes me very nervous. I don't like those types of things. And like, so when I'm gonna go and say something like, oh, you hurt my feelings, I'm like, I'll say like, oh, hi Saki. And I'll like get very like, I don't know, I feel like I go into like the childhood, Tanita. I kind of, Alexandra. I kind of say like, I stutter a lot, and I say,
you get nervous.
I get very nervous.
Get nervous.
Yeah, and I say, you know, this is, and then when I see that the conversation is not going the correct way, I tend to just like stop it and then remove myself, because I don't want like two not attitudes, but two strong people like kind of conversing. I don't want it to go left.
Okay, so it sounds like you're still having a hard time.
Yeah.
To be able to express yourself without it getting too heated and going the other route. So that's still a challenge for you right now.
Yeah. Well, because I still need to learn how to control my emotions a little bit better.
Have you ever tried, one suggestion that I would have for you is, have you ever tried just writing it down and handing it to the person versus verbally saying it?
No.
That might help you. It might help you, one, because when you write things down, the other person, when they're reading, doesn't have like the reaction, right? Because it's written. So they have to imagine what you're saying, which gives them time to kind of think about it. And also they can go back and reread it as many times as they need to get what you're really trying to say out of it. So I do suggest this: if you have a hard time expressing yourself in the moment, tell the person to give you a second, write it down, everything that you're feeling word for word, read it to yourself. If you feel like this is what you're trying to say, hand it over and be like, listen, I can't express this, but can you please take the time to just read it? I don't want you to take what I'm saying wrong.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm writing it. And the other person will have a lot more empathy and come with a different mindset as well. So that's a challenge for you.
Sometimes I say, like, when I say things, I'd be like, all right, so I don't want to sound too blunt. Like, I'll start off like that. Or I'll say like, oh, like, I don't want this to sound mean.
Yes.
So I feel like I start off a lot of my conversations like that. Like I say,
which means you need to go back to that and work on it, because you shouldn't have to justify every single thing that you're saying. Yeah. So you got to build a little more confidence when it comes to your expression. And that takes time.
No, it does.
It takes time.
But I've gotten better.
So what advice would you give to someone struggling to let go of a toxic friendship? What advice would you give me if I have a friendship that I know that it's toxic, but I don't know how to let them go? What would you tell me?
Okay, so I'm going to tell you what I would honestly tell you.
Okay.
So I would tell you, Sarai.
Okay.
I've noticed that this particular friend that you have is changing your mood and is bringing you down. And I don't want to involve myself, because remember my trauma from the... Remember. So I'm going to be like, I don't want to involve myself in your business or your relationships. But I think that you should just see that, and you should figure it out, because it's changing. I just see like a change in your mood. Okay. And then I will also tell you what my mom used to tell me. Everything has an expiration date. Nothing is forever. My mom used to always tell me that.
Well, there's why she didn't believe in friendships.
Yeah, my mom used to tell me everything has an expiration date. Nothing is forever. So I would throw that in there, but not so like raw.
Okay.
Like I would sugarcoat
your sugar, because as you can see, she sugarcoats everything. But we're working on that. Yeah. So Sarai will have a different reaction, right? You already know what I would tell you.
I know.
So this is if, again, I would only do this to my close friends.
Yeah. I'm not doing this to...
We're close, so I'm not sugarcoating absolutely nothing. I'm going to give it to you raw.
Yeah.
Like it is. I'll be like, Alexandra. I noticed that this particular person is bringing out the worst in you. I know that you are still working on yourself. Yeah. So I need you to ask yourself this question. How important is this person to you? And are they worth having in your life and sacrificing whatever it is that's going on?
Yeah.
Like, I would want you to sit with I would never want you to give me an answer right then and there.
No,
I give you homework. I'd be like, go home, reevaluate the whole friendship. How good of a friend is this person really is? Are they toxic just because they gone into, they had a situation, or have they always really been there and you've just been tolerating it? Yeah. So once you can answer this question, I leave it to you. But do what you want with it. I would never tell you to leave a friend.
No.
I would never tell you to stay with a friend. I always bring it back to you, because only you know how important and valuable that friendship is. From the outside, things may look a certain way and it may not be that way. So that's why I've learned, and I don't get involved in people's relationships, because I know that what I see may not always be the truth. Yeah. So the same thing applies to friendships. Yeah. I always just want to open up your eyes and just make you realize, hey, from here it's looking this way, but if it's not, I could be wrong, let me know. So that's my approach. Yeah. So I always want the person to make their own decision at the end of the day. Yeah.
It's hard, though, to let go.
Absolutely. It's hard to let go of, well, for me, everything. It's hard for me to let go of absolutely anything.
Of everything.
I do. I get sometimes a little too attached. Yeah. So yeah, let's leave it at that.
Yeah. But it's necessary. It's necessary to, if things are not going for you, and if things are not, benefiting you at the end of the day. And I don't mean to say it like a friendship is you're supposed to benefit off of a friendship, but at the end of the day.
At the end of the day, it's you're both getting something out of the friendship, and it's always, usually it's something good. Yeah. You're uplifting each other. You're pushing each other. You should be receiving if that friendship does not give you joy, if that friendship does not give you support, then what are they there for? Yeah. Because for that, you're not my friend. Yeah. You are my what? Acquaintance. So that's why there's levels to it.
All right. Next question. How has social media impacted your friendships? Both positive and negative.
Okay, let me think about this one. Let me see what social media has really done for my friendships. Yeah. And I honestly think that the only positive I've seen in social media is that I get to see a lot more pictures, and I get to see them more. Yeah. Especially if there's a distance and I can't communicate you on a daily basis. That has been a positive. I won't take that away. Like, for example, I don't get to see Victoria all the time, but when she posts one of her motivational workout videos, I was like, yes, that's my girl. She's doing her thing. And I'm happy to know that she's doing something. Now, does that tell me how she's really doing? No. Absolutely not. So the connection for us does not grow due to me knowing her daily routine. It really doesn't. So in that aspect, the negative would be that it actually can take away. Because I could then think, oh, I'm seeing her all the time. She's good. I'm not going to check in because I know she's fine. And meanwhile, she's probably struggling, and I just don't see that side of her. So I think that would be the negative effect.
I think that the negative can also be that you start losing what you were saying earlier, like the connection, reaching out and the connection, because you kind of just like pictures and stuff like that, or even like send each other like little memes and stuff like that. And that's like your check-in with your friend. It starts to diminish it. And it starts to take away value of the friendship. It can. Sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. It depends how strong your connection is.
But then I think a positive is like for those like international friends that you have that you don't get to see. I think that that's great. I think also for the older crowd.
Yes, they get to keep in touch more.
You get to keep in touch. And it does. And, don't judge me. Don't you go judging me. But it reminds me of a lot of my friends' birthdays because I'd be forgetting.
Oh, you're a horrible friend.
No, I forget. I be forgetting people's birthdays. I be forgetting people. Like, I forget certain things, and then it kind of reminds me. Okay. And it's
I think it's a good way to keep you socializing. Yeah. Right? To still be in the know. I think that's the positive. But in the connection wise, no. You got to do it in person, in real time. Old school. You got to take time to take them out, get together, do activities, do dinner. Like I said, you got to date your friends. The same thing applies, right? If that relationship is not going and it's not fun, it will die out. It will.
You have to date your friends, no matter which way you
no matter how you want to look at it. So I have this question for you. Okay. What are some signs that a friendship is worth investing more time and energy into? What are the signs? Okay,
so I can tell you that I realized that I needed to invest and appreciate my friends more when I hit, and it kind of, me saying it out loud, it kind of makes me feel bad.
Okay.
But when I hit rock bottom, it's kind of like what I was saying earlier. I don't think that I really appreciated my best close friends as much as I should have been appreciating them.
Okay.
I just expected them to always be there. So when I hit my rock bottom, I think it was 2 or 3 years ago, and I called up those 3 people, and they literally picked me up and like, I don't know what y'all did, whatever you guys did.
Yeah.
I think that that's a sign that you need, like, that's just when you are down and out and that person is there and you don't even got to say nothing. Like, when I tell you, I don't even have to say anything.
Yeah.
I think that's a sign. I think just like energy and just like
connection. It goes back to connection. Yeah. Like, how do I know I have my real friends are my real friends? Is because I feel something. Yeah. I even feel when something's off and I don't even see them. That's the true connection of a real friendship, that they don't even have to tell you anything. You pick up the phone call and you hear it in the tone. You hear it in the silence. You see it in their face. Like, that's something you don't just get from anyone. So when you do find it, you don't want to let that go. Yeah. And that's the sign that you should be investing more. Yeah. Like, if I was good to this friend before, I want to be even better to this friend. Yeah. Because I know this friend really has my back, and they've proven it with actions, not just with words and likes. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's just, and that's just so hard to find nowadays. Yeah. Like, I really do feel bad for the newer generation that are having a hard time in making these true connections. Yeah. Because it is getting lost. It's getting lost. Yeah. Now, what do you think we could do to not lose it? What are some suggestions? Like, yes, I know we said date your friends, whatever, but what exactly can they do to go out and find a friend? Like, how do you just go out and start making friends? This is when you have none.
The newer generation you're talking about, or you're just talking about anybody general? Or just, let's say,
us in general. Me and you may want new friends. What do we do to make these new friendships?
Okay, I think that you can start, like, remember the list that I gave you earlier? I think you can start maybe in something that, maybe something that you're interested in. So let's say like a salsa class or something. Okay. You can start there because it'll make you sociable. It'll make that person, you and that person already have just one thing in common off the bat.
Well, yes.
You're both there. You both like salsa. Yeah. Right? It's going to start off as, one of those activity friends. Okay. But maybe, just maybe, it'll grow into something better. Then you go up a level and up a level. If you don't put yourself out there and you don't, be positive and bring that good energy, you're not going to find... if you believe in that whole new, because I remember for a long time, I was like, oh, no new friends. And I was like, nope, I don't need no more new friends. I got enough. But if you go around with that same attitude all the time, you're going to miss out on potentially maybe a lifelong friend, or maybe a best friend, or you're going to miss out. Like, you can't just negate or just just cancel people out because you already got a best friend. So I ain't got room for another one. Like, you know what I mean?
I agree. I think that also when you're in these situations where, let's say, like you mentioned, the social class, once you hit it off with somebody, don't be afraid to start asking questions or inviting them to go out, because you want to be able to move that activity somewhere else. Yeah. Because that's the way that it grows. If you only keep it to, we only talk when we're in this salsa place, let's say, then they just remain that type of friend. Yeah. If you want to get to know them on a deeper level, maybe take them out. Oh, you want to grab coffee one day? Do you want to grab dinner in a setting where now maybe we can sit and talk and ask each other questions to see if we're a match in friends? Yeah. Like, do we like other things, that it's not just salsa? Yeah. But it takes somebody being a little more vulnerable and opened, because if you're a shy person, it can be hard.
It is
to
hard.
even ask those type of questions. Like, oh, do you want to, because you're in fear that they're going to be like, no, I don't want to go out. But sometimes you got to get out your comfort zone and just ask the person like, oh, hey, can we talk on social media? Maybe start there. Yeah. Then from there it goes into the phone call or the texting, but you want to be able to move it if you are actually enjoying this person's company. Yeah. But for that, you have to be vulnerable and you have to ask questions. Yeah. So don't be shy. It can be done. Yeah.
It can be done. It's a little scary, but
it is.
How do you balance the need for personal space and independence with the need of maintaining personal friendships?
Okay, so you have to set boundaries. That's what that is. You can have a friend. You can have a friend that you're really close to, but if you don't set boundaries where they're just overstepping an area of your life, that's going to be a problem. And some people, when they have that from the beginning, it's hard to do. Like, you don't want to tell that friend that you did absolutely everything with, like, oh, hey, you can't now come into this friendship. Because I think close friends sometimes think that they can be a part of all of your friend groups. And I don't think that's true. Not everybody likes everyone. Like, you have to have a certain type of personality. Like, I'm sure you have different types of friend groups. And it doesn't mean that at every single friend group that you have, I'm going to fit in. I might not be everybody's cup of tea. But I might be like, well, Alexandra, why don't you take me with your friends? I want to go. And I keep insisting. It's like, you got to be able to tell me, like, I'm sorry, but this is my friend. Like,
that's hard to do.
It is very hard. I'm joking about it, but it's the hardest thing to do.
I'm trying to think of how can I tell. Let's say I have this friend group and I have to tell that you're not invited. Like,
I wouldn't say you're not invited. I'd just be like, oh, I'm sorry. It's just a thing for us because we know each other. I think you have to be on. There's no sugarcoating.
No, I know, but I don't know how I would do it.
I not for this one because these particular friends, they're a certain type of way, and I don't know if you're gonna click, and I'd rather not. Yeah, that's it. That's it. And if I'm not okay with it, then I need to do some work because
I remember my best friend. I'm gonna go back to this. I remember my best friend. He used to always go out with this certain crowd. And I used to be like, I used to be toxic. I don't know if anybody didn't notice, but I used to be toxic. So I used to always be like, why you don't take me nowhere? And I used to always ask, oh my God. I was like, why I'm not invited? Da-da-da. So he used to always say, that's not your crowd. And he used to always tell me, that's not your crowd. You're not going to like it there. So, and I would take offense.
Of course.
But he would let me know.
At least, and I actually do have a friend that tells me, well, she goes, I don't share my friends. So she's like, I keep all my friends separate. So with her, she's very open and she's very honest and upfront. So I don't even bother to ask her like, oh, take me. I was like, nope, it's okay.
Got it.
You don't share. I respect that.
Got it.
So you just got to put boundaries. Put boundaries. And if they're really your friends, they'll respect your boundaries. Like your friends don't got to be your friends. Not all the time. That's not always the case. So I have another question for you. What role do forgiveness and understanding play in your friendships, especially after a disagreement? How do you take that?
All right. So I have a problem. All right. So I'm healing, guys. I'm healing. So I have a problem with the word I'm sorry. Like, I come from a toxic relationship, and the word I'm sorry was thrown around a lot, and it held no weight.
Okay.
And now that has trickled down to when anybody says I'm sorry to me, it holds no weight with me. Okay. It does nothing for me. So usually when people say I'm sorry, my response to that is your sorry does nothing for me, because it just does, it's lost its oomph for me, the word I'm sorry.
Okay.
So I think, obviously, I think that that's not okay. I think that, yes, actions speak louder than words, but I think that my attitude towards the I'm sorry word, it has a little trauma connected to it. But I think that forgiveness, like when you get into a disagreement with a friend, or in a relationship or anything. Because, you know, technically you're supposed to be friends with your partner before, you know what I mean? So when you get into a disagreement, I think that forgiveness is very important. You shouldn't accept a sorry, or you shouldn't say, I forgive you, if you don't really mean it. I think that sometimes people just tend to like just throw the word, oh, like, you know, let's say I say something to you all the time and I'd be like, oh, I'm sorry, you know, it hurt your feelings, whatever, but I don't really mean it. Like, I'm just saying it. I just want to, like, you know, okay, whatever. Like, she's being sensitive, whatever. I think that if you can't forgive a person, like if you can't forgive a friend for something that they've done to you, and you know that that friend didn't really mean, deep down inside, that friend really didn't mean to trigger you or to cross, you know, to cross a landmine, or didn't mean to hurt you, and you can't forgive that person, I think that you're really not gonna progress in any, like, not only friendships, but in any other part in relationships.
Okay.
So that's what I think. The sorry thing for me is just, I have a tough time with the sorry thing.
How do you know when they're really sorry or not then?
With actions. So I can tell with your actions.
So then how do you tell that person? So I come to you and I tell you, Alexandra, I'm sorry. There's no time for me to give you action. How do you respond to that?
Well, I'll tell you, you're sorry for what?
Yeah, and I tell you, I'm sorry because I hurt your feelings.
Yeah, and I'll say, what did you do to hurt my feelings?
And I tell you, oh, I used the F-bomb word on you when I wasn't supposed to. Then what?
I would say,
But what? So what is that?
That's it.
So then we just leave it in the air like that.
I'll listen to what you have to say. I'll let you express yourself.
Okay.
And that's it. We don't have anything else to talk about. If you're sorry, like...
I'm your friend, though.
Yeah, I get it.
I'm your friend.
You're going to show me that you're not going to use the... Like, let's say you called me fat and I tell you, oh, listen, I don't like it when you call me fat.
Exactly.
And you come to me, oh, I'm sorry. I'll be like, okay. You know, first, I want to know why you're sorry.
Okay.
Like, to know if you even really is sorry. And then I'm going to just say, okay. And to say, I'm going to see if next week you're going to call me fat again. And then I won't say nothing next week, and then I'll wait the other week. And then...
So then you're already waiting.
I'm waiting for you to...
So then,
to go back.
You're toxic.
Yeah. No, I'm not toxic. I'm just not... I just don't believe in when people tell me that they're sorry.
But we're not saying when people. We're talking about your true friend. Forget about people. Yes. If you already have that relationship with that true friend where they're like that, then they're not your true friend. So you were already waiting for the shoe to drop.
I'm always waiting for the shoe to drop. It doesn't matter if you're my mother or if you're my daughter. I am waiting for the shoe to drop.
Okay. So
I am.
So then you've never had a healthy friendship where you're not waiting for the shoe to drop?
No. That's just the way that I grew up. The person that I am, I'm always waiting for the shoe to drop. It doesn't matter if it's a healthy relationship or friendship, or if it's an unhealthy one. Okay. I am waiting for the shoe to drop. Always.
Wow.
I am always on defense.
Hard to live your life.
It's exhausting.
Yeah, waiting for someone to disappoint you.
Yes.
That's what you're literally waiting for.
I'm waiting for the disappointment. Yes.
Oh my God.
But I'm changing. I am. I'm learning not to be like that.
Yeah, no,
but it's something that I've been for 30
Yeah, you can't just undo
years.
That. You can't undo that.
Yeah. So I'm trying to unlearn not to wait for disappointment, but if we're being as raw and as real as that we said we're going to be, I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop at all times. All times.
So how much do you wait for me to drop the shoe on you?
No, I don't think that you're ever gonna drop the shoe on me.
But look how now she's talking about me.
Yeah,
she's not waiting for the shoe to drop on her.
But if there's
that must mean that I've proven something to you.
Yeah, no, but if there's a phone call, but like let's say let's say you text me, right, and you'll be like, Alexandra, I'm gonna call you in 5 minutes. I'm waiting for a bomba. Like, I'm like to me, it's not, I'm not thinking right away, oh my God, I got a promotion in my job. Oh my God, I'm engaged.
No,
oh my God.
Well, if I tell anybody that I'm calling them, believe me, remember what I said? I only call people because I'm dropping a bomb on you.
But what I mean by that is that I'm always more pessimist. I'm always more pessimist than
Yes, I get that. But what I'm trying to get to as, I know because you're saying all this about yourself, but yet it's not matching to me of how our relationship is. I think you have that experience with certain type of people that have proven that time and time and again to you.
No, I'm always waiting for the shoe to drop, sorry.
One thing is for the shoe to drop, and another thing is, are you waiting for me to purposely hurt you?
No, I don't think that anybody. No, I don't think that anybody wants to purposely hurt me.
So this is what we're talking about. It's about a friendship to actually hurt you, to do something to disappoint you.
Yeah, but it's people make mistakes.
Absolutely. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying.
So I don't think that you're purposely gonna make a mistake and hurt my feelings.
Okay. Yeah. So then you don't think that.
No, I don't know why you don't want to. You don't want to believe that I just want to. I'm waiting for someone to. I'm just always waiting for disappointment. I am.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
No, you don't have to be sorry about that. You don't have to be sorry about that at all. I'm just trying to put myself in your situation, and I'm trying to think about why is it that you are feeling that way, even when someone has provided you that safe space, but it goes back to
it's childhood.
I still haven't let that go.
Yeah, I think it's the childhood thing. I think it's just like I'm just always and it also goes back to our previous episode, the self-esteem.
Yes.
It goes back to I'm not good enough for that person. It goes back to a lot. It really has nothing to do with the person. And it really has nothing to do with me as an individual, how I feel about this person, or if I don't love this person, or if this person is not. It really doesn't. And sometimes it actually causes a lot worse, because like when I express myself,
people
like
don't
let's
understand.
say they don't understand it and they take offense to it. They're like, okay, so I've proven to her, like I've shown to her that I've been there for her and this and that, and she's just thinking I'm going to betray her. But it's just so much more. It's so much deeper.
Correct. And this is perfect that you're able to say this and that they're able to hear it, because that's what happens in a lot of situations.
Yeah.
Somebody tries to express themselves. The other person has never lived in that person's shoe, so they cannot comprehend why. Right? Then they get stuck on that and they get, like you said, offended. The only reason why I am not offended is because I was able to understand and I already know you, right? A lot of people don't have that history, but I know where it's coming from. And even though I know where it's coming from, I'm still trying to understand it and process it. Because that's why I'm asking you all of these questions. So if you're out there and you have lived a similar experience to Alexandra, just know that the more that you express it, don't get frustrated with the people that don't get it. Like, I'm happy that you're still expressing and getting it out, as I know it could be annoying to constantly have to
it's not
repeat it.
I don't think it's annoying. I think that sometimes like sometimes I don't express myself because I feel like I'm going to offend somebody and I really don't want to lose that person. So I don't want to say something that I really, really honestly feel, because of whatever traumas I have, whatever triggers I may have. But then that person is like, whoa, she's too much. Like she got a lot of baggage. You know what I mean? And then it makes, so I don't like, that's some of the reasons why sometimes I don't talk. And then half of the time I feel like people don't be understanding me.
I feel like that's when you should, because then the people that don't need to be in your life will just leave, and they should leave at that moment. You shouldn't want to have people around you that can't get you.
But then remember, that goes back to, okay, here we go. That goes back to abandonment issues. It's hard when, even if you know that that person is not good for you. It's hard, just the pure abandonment. It doesn't matter who it is.
Yeah, then that's when we go back, guys, to the beginning. It's you gotta bring up your self-esteem.
And
self-esteem is everything. It ties in together. If you at your core, if your foundation is rocky, anybody that comes in and out of your life are going to literally knock you down. And who wants to be on the floor constantly?
Exactly.
So you have to work on yourself. We cannot stress this enough. This is why we talk about this. Because this is real. This is real. Like, you just, like, right now off in my head, because you know I'm always in my head. I live here, guys. You just gave me a lot to think about. And going back in my past relationships and the ones that didn't make it, I could see why now. It was probably because they couldn't communicate that feeling.
Because, so you see, I'm comfortable with communicating and accepting. my trauma because I know I got it. I know it's there and I want to heal it. But there's a lot of people that can't even do that. They can't even accept that they got trauma.
Yeah.
And it's not easy.
It's not.
You think it's easy?
It's like people that are addicts. Some can accept it. Some cannot.
They can't.
And that's where we are all just wired a little bit differently. And we just got to help each other, like bring out the best and just be more supportive and more on this. If you don't get it, try to get it.
Yeah.
Like right now I'm sitting here and I'm just trying to understand Alexandra to a certain extent as why does she think the way that she thinks.
Yeah.
So that I could also learn to be able to tell you things in a way that you could receive it and not get offended.
Yeah.
So, oh my God, that was great.
Okay.
So I have another question for you. Looking back, what's something you wish you knew about friendships that you know now? What did you learn throughout all of the friendships that you've had throughout the years?
Sometimes friends, I learned, obviously, I'll give you something negative, I'll give you something positive.
Okay.
The negative is that sometimes, friendship can be draining and a friendship can be toxic and a friendship can be a really bad friendship. Like, it can be that you thought that this person was your friend and this person literally just used you. They never had the same intent. Like, they never had the intention that you had in this friendship. They never had it. Ever. They never went into it with that intention. They never stayed in it without that intention. You was basically, how do you say that in a nice way? You was just...
You were used.
You were used.
It is what it is.
So I learned that. I wish that I would have known that so that I wouldn't have given it my all to every single friendship. I used to give my all in every single friendship. I didn't know the different levels. I didn't know that there was different type of friends. I learned that with the betrayals.
Okay.
And then something positive, I learned that your friends sometimes are there for you more than I think that sometimes friendship is so underrated, kind of how do you say it? Friendship is so taken loosely. People don't really value it as much as they should.
Okay. But what about the friends that do value you? What did you learn currently, right? From the friendship, the real ones that you have, not the ones that you thought. The real friendship, like Butter, who you mentioned, who was a real friend. Hopefully I'm a real friend.
Yeah, of course you are.
That's me being offended, but I'm not.
Of course you are.
So from me, the other friends that you have, what did you learn from us, right? From that dynamic of friendship that you wish you would have learned back then?
That there really are good people.
Look at that.
That there really are.
And look how hard it was for her to even be able to say
because
that.
Because there's really people that don't that they're just, because they really love you.
There's real, genuine people out there.
Yeah.
There really is. And that's something that I want you
to
Do you want me to
cry?
She's getting emotional. But yes, this is what this podcast is about, is that yes, there are people out there that are out to use you, to manipulate you, to do a horrible things. But there are good people. Yeah. You just have to learn to look for them.
And accept them when they come.
And accept them when they do come, and not always wait for the shoe to drop, right? And that's something that Alexandra is currently learning.
Yes. I am.
That if you would have known that sooner,
I wouldn't have
different.
Yeah, I wouldn't have had such a negative.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know, but I just wouldn't have. I would have been so much more calm. I would have been able to breathe and enjoy moments more.
Yeah.
You know. What did you learn?
Oh, what did I learn?
What did you learn?
So I learned that apart from there being amazing people out there, I learned that there is someone who you can share your most deepest, darkest secrets with, and they won't just betray you. I did learn that now, because back then, even though I had my close friends, there were still certain things I would still hold on to, because even though I wasn't as you were with I'm waiting for the shoe to drop, but deep down, right? Because I have that little bit in me too. I was just like, but what if?
Yeah.
And because of the what if, I didn't always let all of me out. So I think that just to know that there are good-hearted people out there that will have your back, you just have to learn to look for their actions, not just their words. Like if back then I would have paid attention more to what they were doing rather than they were telling me, it would have saved me from a lot of heartache, heartbreak.
Yeah, I think so.
So that's what I learned, is that my friends' words have to match their actions.
Their actions.
That was a takeaway for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh boy, friendship. Who would have thought?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard, guys. It really is hard. But if you have a friend, do your best to like hold on to them, cherish them,
appreciate them,
because once everything's said and done, what's going to matter at the end of the day is the people who you hold near you and who the people that are around you that are going to support you.
Absolutely. I think that friendship, sometimes people, they don't really want to take the time to like invest and appreciate a friend. Yeah. And they just, they kind of, I don't want to word it in a way that it sounds offensive. But I think that sometimes people believe that if a friend doesn't benefit you in a certain type of way, that there's no like good use for them. But I think that people it's going to sound offensive. It's going to sound offensive, what I'm trying to say.
But tell me what you're trying to say.
What I want to say is that if a friend, at the end of the day, if a friend does nothing for you, there's no reason for them to be in your life. But I don't mean to say that if they don't do nothing for you. I mean, like if they don't.
How about they don't add value?
If they don't add value.
And by value, we mean is that they don't help you grow. If they don't add joy, if they don't bring peace, if there's no happiness, if your main core values and morals do not match up, they don't need to be in your life. And that's okay. Because not everyone is meant to be your friend. Some people are just meant to be what they are.
There's time, like my mother said, there's an expiration date for everything. There's expiration. People come into your lives for a reason. And they're there for a certain time for a reason. There are people who are in your life that were meant to be a lesson. You learn from that person, and that is what that person was there for. To teach you something, or for them to be taught something by you. Like
that's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
It's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. But there are some friends that are not meant to expire. So there you have it, guys. What they don't tell you about friendship, which is not going to be easy. Yeah. You need to make sure that you pour into your friendships. Absolutely. Not all are going to last, right? No, some expire.
Exactly. But make sure you date them, like Sarai says, cherish them, appreciate them. And, love your friends.
Yes, love your friend, guys. Tune in on the next episode here on Sip, Spark, and Share, where we're gonna walk you through your thoughts. Bye. We hope we made it to your friend list. Bye.